Breaking news tonight, an Illinois judge removing Donald Trump from the state's ballot, citing the 14th Amendment and its so-called insurrectionist ban. Now, Trump's campaign wasted no time in responding to it, saying it plans to quickly appeal this ruling. The judge's decision comes after a similar challenge from Colorado is pending now before the Supreme Court. For more on this, I want to bring in former Assistant Special Watergate Prosecutor Nick Ackerman, CNN legal analyst Jennifer Rogers, and former prosecutor Jeremy Saland. Nick, what's your reaction to this ruling out of Illinois? They basically took what Colorado did and they said, these are the facts, we're going to just apply it to Illinois.
Well, that's the same thing that the Secretary of State in Maine did. I mean, she did the exact same thing. And I think everybody's just got to hold off because the Supreme Court is going to be the body that decides this in the end. No matter what happens, no matter how many other states do this, they're all going to wind up going back to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court's going to have the final word on this. Now, the problem I have with all of this is that they're basing it all on the fact determination that was made by the Colorado Supreme Court, which in turn was based on the January 6th committee. What irks the hell out of me is that the Supreme Court is actually the supervisor of that grand jury in D.C. that indicted Donald Trump. They have access. If they want, they could reach into that grand jury. They could get the testimony of former Vice President Mike Pence. They could get the testimony that was given by the White House lawyers. And they would have more than enough facts to determine that Donald Trump was involved in an insurrection.
Wouldn't that be something? They could.
They could, but they won't.
Jennifer, they won't?
They will not. I mean, they don't want to touch that issue with the 10-foot pole. They've got legal issues here about whether the presidency is under the statute as an officer, about whether Congress has to act before the states can actually do this 14th Amendment thing. They're not going to touch this factual question.
Why would Illinois even do this in the first place right now?
So there's a bunch of states that still have pending lawsuits. I mean, people have sued saying he should not be on our ballot, and they're working their way through a whole bunch of states. So Illinois started with the Board of Elections. They said we don't have jurisdiction. It goes to the judge. Judge made the ruling. Now it can appeal through the state courts. They're just kind of doing their jobs, even though everybody knows the Supreme Court's going to come out with the decision.
And Jeremy, when it comes to a Trump appeal, this has already stayed, so he's still on the ballot for now. What does the appeal look like, and what would the import of it even be, given that the Supreme Court ultimately has to decide?
I think ultimately there's only slightly a smaller import, because you're correct. The Supreme Court has to make a decision. There needs to be guidance. Otherwise, each state is going to be doing its own method and have its own progress or process to get to a point of should he be on or should he not be on. So it's very problematic. It needs to be decided not tomorrow, but needs to be decided today. And I think, frankly, even far before this issue of immunity, the issue of insurrection, I think is paramount.
This was like a snowstorm day when it comes to news. So one of the other headlines that happened, Trump's civil fraud case, a judge ruled that he has to come up with the full bond, $454 million, and his lawyers say he doesn't have it.
Well, he's been saying for years he has it, but he doesn't have it. That's right.
So, I mean, what does this mean?
This means he's in
that case for Donald Trump. Where does he go next?
He goes next to trying to either sell his properties, or he has to sit back and let the Attorney General go through a forfeiture proceeding and take over these properties. I mean, he is really between a rock and a hard place here.
And if he can't, Jeremy, do this in I think it's 30 days that he has to sort this out, what happens then?
Well, interest is ticking, number one. That's a really significant issue.
Yeah.
And to the point just made before, if he wants to sell his properties, assuming he can, he has long-term capital gains issues he's going to have to deal with. So ultimately what will happen is Attorney General James is going to put a lien in and ultimately, for lack of a better term, seize those properties. He's going to have a hard time with coming up with this money, and I don't think that money ever existed in the first place. Whether that, sort of exposes him as a charlatan on that front is yet to be seen, but this is a very major, big problem for him.
Yeah, and the AG has said she will seize the
Absolutely.
properties if he doesn't pay up. Jennifer, there's also, I mean, Trump has this $83 million judgment against him in the E. Jean Carroll case. In that case as well, another civil matter, will she ever actually see that money?
Yeah, I think she will. I mean, he's going to have to put up the bond for that $83 million as well, and it'll go through the appeal process. But as soon as the appeal is finished, assuming that the judgment is affirmed and the amount is affirmed, then it's time for her to get paid, and the bond will be there, so she will get that money.
So, Nick, just as a final thought here, look, all of this put together, it's been an extraordinary news day, we'll put it that way, but an extraordinary year for this Supreme Court, taking on some of the most consequential decisions, maybe ever, when it comes to the highest office of the land. You were a Watergate prosecutor. Did you ever think you would see all of this in front of the courts all at once?
Never. I was amazing to even see the Nixon tape case go before the Supreme Court when it did. And this immunity issue that came up today, where the court has actually permitted an appeal on the immunity issue from the D.C. Circuit, I find absolutely outrageous. There is no way during Watergate that ever anyone thought for a moment that there was presidential immunity for Richard Nixon. I spent hours, days, months investigating crimes relating to Richard Nixon, and no one ever came to me and said, ooh, you better not do that because there's presidential immunity. The fact is, this whole presidential immunity idea is a construct made by his lawyers in order to delay this whole matter for Donald Trump so he doesn't have to go to court.
Jeremy, is the court validating that construct by taking this up? Or is this an opportunity for them to say once and for all what the law says?
I think you would be very generous to say that the court is trying to sort of cut the head off the Hydra, however it proposes itself to get this immunity issue out front. But I also want to say it's difficult to think it, but it's disturbing because why is the court taking so long to do this? Are they giving Donald Trump a pass? And no matter whether they find there's immunity or not, they are by de facto, sort of by default, giving Trump that immunity by pushing this off because it's not likely that a trial will happen anytime soon, if at all, and theoretically, maybe even after, if he's elected or after the election. So it's disheartening. I don't want to think that. I want to take off those blue and red glasses, and Americans should do that, but it is very disheartening.
I mean, look, when you look at all of this, it is amazing to think what this country is about to go through over the next 9 or 10 months. Nick Ackerman, Jennifer Rogers, Jeremy Saland, thank you both all very much for all of that. And